Well, we've made it to Monday.
We're there.
How bad was it?
Well, I mean, it wasn't the best, was it? I mean, you don't really want to see that, do you? I mean, at this stage, you don't want to see it. Let's be honest.
No,
you don't at this stage of our development. But I mean, obviously, there is also the school that these things happen. I think this is very fixable. I think the loss this week is clear. He's really clear of where it's lost, and this is we've got to start helping the players a bit. I think they're not being allowed to express themselves, and I think they were really exposed here, and that's a good thing. Like I want to be exposed now. Don't want to be exposed prelim final or a semi-final or heaven forbid a grand final. I don't want to see our system be exposed for the world because we know what happens there. I want to see it exposed now while they have back where they have chance to rectify it. And it's there. They can do it.
No doubt. We're going to get into it. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the Blue Abroad Show. We are brought to you by Cannoleria. Pommy, have you had a cannoli before? You ever had one?
I've had a who?
Have you ever had a cannoli?
Don't know what the fuck that is.
Like the cylinder pastry shell with custard filling on the inside?
Mrs. P, is that what you've got in the freezer, them cannolis? That are filled with Nutella?
No, the cannolis are the ones that were wrapped. Oh, you're talking about cannoli.
I've never had one.
I'll buy some for him tomorrow.
She's buying me some tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we are brought to you by the best cannolis in Melbourne, mate, in Australia, Cannoleria. I'm not going to get you to pronounce it, but we thank them for their support. We are here to review round 10, and then we're here to move on and review all things Carlton, really. You know it's bad when Pommies come in.
Yeah, Aiden just said that. I've got to give a shout out, though. This is why I love my Carlton community, because Jimmy R and Gokhan have learned how to explain anything complicated to me in POM language. Like honestly, this is it. You know me so well. You know me so well. You know how to explain it, so I understand. A bog roll with cream in it. There we are. Thanks.
Fantastic. That is
I've seen them. I've never partook.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, we'll get into it. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about some themes and issues that are coming up throughout the week. Give you, those of you in the chat, an opportunity to, ask questions and bring up topics of discussion. Pom, we're in the thick of it now, aren't we? The season comes around. You sort of need a sample size. We have well and truly got a nice sample size of a season now. Like we're in the thick of it. Time is not quite seemingly looking like it's running out, but just, from here on in over the next few months, it's going to start getting squeaky bum time. And how are you observing where we're at the moment?
Well, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say that I'm like totally panicked. Do you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people out there, they are panicking, and that's fair enough. I mean, like, I'd never tell you what to do.
Yeah.
If you want to panic, you can panic. I don't care enough to tell you what to do. But one thing that I have noticed about this side is I look last year, right? And there's a pattern emerging. There's a pattern emerging that last year, do you remember the first 4 games and everyone was panicking, right? But last year, there was a real focus on scores from defensive half and turnover. Mm-hmm. And then what happened? Voss showed it up, went full stoppage and clearance. We got panned in the press every week that we were a pure stoppage and clearance side. But we got to the finals. That was good, wasn't it? This year, we started off again the same. Counter-punching from the back half, taking the game on. We were the number 1 side for scores from turnover. We were the 3rd best side from defensive half. We won games. We were 4-1. But again, we were 10th for stoppage and clearance scores. And people were like, where's Carlton stoppage and clearance scores? Then we flipped it. The difference has been now you've actually started to see that be exposed, like it was exposed last year against the top 8 sides. The last 5 games, average ladder position 4.4, right? Very interesting that has been a real poignant thing. So this is now leading to me that we've got enough case notes that I think Voss's brand is what you see. Central, very high maintenance, real hard yakker on the old legs, physical. It's good to watch the blue-collar Blues, but I do think Voss wants to be that more expressive side. Now, this is going to be a really interesting thing because Wowdy leads me on to that. Camp Kerno happened, and he said a lot of changes and a lot of feedback was presented to him. It changed the shift. Now, it is one of these cases. Is it because the players can't physically play that game, or they don't want to, or they don't like it? Or is it they feel safer playing a system that they've played for the last 5-6 years? Because everyone has been stoppage and clearance focused. It's just interesting that this, I really, all my heart of hearts, I know it concedes a lot of scores because we're not very good at defending turnover. But in my heart of hearts, when you look at the Giants game particularly, we can stack up. We can stack up if we're aggressive. And we've got to risk these blowouts. But this blowout this week, this one hurts because I feel like it was a good side. It was a good enough side to match it, even with all the outs. I just feel like it was really safe and we went into our shells. And I can't cop a loss when you're safe. I can cop a loss if you're aggressive and bold and we can learn from it. I felt like this week they really did get exposed by that. And I'm hoping Voss changes it. He goes back to it when the shit hits the fan. Shit has hit the fan this week because there's people nuking the memberships, putting it in the air fryer.
Yeah. Well, those of you at home, put a comment in the live chat and summarize your take from round 10. Yeah, Pommy. So for me, it was so weird. I mean, the application early in the piece, especially away from home, was exactly what you wanted to see. And then, teams are going to wrestle it back. All good teams, great teams, top 4 teams in particular will. There was like an acceptance, which I hadn't seen from the group in a long time. Like an acceptance of it's just not our night tonight. And that for me I thought that was unacceptable, much more so than the Geelong loss.
Yeah, because what you saw this week is a team and I don't want to keep bringing back to my preview because it makes me sound like I'm saying I'm right. And that's not what I'm doing. It's just the example I can give you that I said Sydney are one of the few teams, unlike GWS, there's a big separation between GWS and Sydney. And one is Sydney are willing to go into the trenches. GWS aren't. The question mark on GWS for me is, they play sexy football. Yeah, it looks good. But when it gets a little bit hard, when you're willing to grab them by the scruff of the neck and say, get down into this trench, you start to see what they're made of. And they're made of the inside of cannoli, right? To use an analogy that you've just taught me. Sydney, they're made of hard stuff. You take them into the trenches, they're willing to fucking go toe-to-toe. They're not scared. They'll dance on the ropes a little bit. They'll play with fire. They'll risk it. And that's why you didn't see what you saw with Geelong, where we could keep it close, because these guys can take it on the chin and then they come back out. And that first quarter versus Melbourne showed you it. First quarter against Melbourne, we beat them up. Melbourne were chasing the game. Difference was second quarter when Sydney came out versus Melbourne. They were like, oh, okay. That's how you want to play? Let's see what you can do when we do this. And they made them shifts. Rowbottom moved. They moved Chad Warner out of the back of the stoppage because we had a plan in the first quarter for him. They changed that plan. They said, okay, let's see how Kennedy does when we give him 5 meters to run at you. And it was exposed rapidly. And where Voss played Melbourne before, who were very flat-footed, when they change it to be a little bit lighter and quicker, Carlton had no methodology, 1, to stop the exit, and 2, to stop it when it was coming back at them. And that's a real interesting thing that Voss is going to have to learn. In this game, It's the tightest you've ever seen. We're one win out of top 4, right? We're one win out of top 4. It's very close. But I would say the skill gap between the best 4 sides and the next 8 is massive if you don't try and get the game on your terms. And this week felt like Voss backed in and just thought, you know what? It's going to work. Cripps will get 30. Walshy will work away. And it didn't quite work. And you could see the selection before the game screamed to me my worst fears. I could see it happening. I knew it was going to be, we're going to rely on intercept. Sydney are the most intercepted side in the league on entries. I knew someone at Carlton had seen that stat and said, okay, we'll kill him. Problem is, we've got better intercepts, low ratio from scoring from him. And it really played into it. And it's not all doom and gloom. It will be doom and gloom if they keep repeating the mistakes.
So a combination of tactically outclassed and emotionally outclassed. Sydney thrived off the fact that we'd given them a punch early in the piece. They were so up for it. And for the first time with this group, there was that disconnection. Completely, but I think the way and the speed in which it evaporated was the concern. So for this game, I don't know where those of you at home sit on this. Is this one of those, it was a poor night, it was a bad night, everything went wrong? Or are you looking at it a little bit more deeply? Or is it too early to look at it more deeply?
I felt the warning signs were there in the first, and it was very interesting that I remember when it started to change, right? When it started to change, right? And it was when Harry Mackay missed that sitter and Matty always kicked the goal, right? And at that centre bounce, Brodie Grundy and the midfield group were talking. They were talking. They were literally having a real theatrical conversation as Matty always was giving it large. And there's a great scene where Brodie Grundy points at James Jordan and screams at him. And then they went back to that centre bounce and suddenly James Jordan finds himself on Mr. Walsh. By the end of that quarter from then, James Rowbottom had 6 tackles, led the ground. And there was a real shift then that Sydney were like, okay, this is what the Blues are going to do. They're going to try and beat us up around stoppage. What we're going to do is we're going to mix it up a little bit. Chad Warner, you play on the loose side. We're going to be aggressive with the Blues and we're not going to let them get clean ball. And when they do have the ball, they've got to go through us. And it worked a treat because the Blues started that little soppy thing we do where we spin out of the stoppage and handball it to Hewitt. And as soon as that happened, bang, Hewitt was hit. And we said that the other week when we lost. When teams will work out how to take away Hewitt's short ball, that stoppage and clearance falls apart because no one thinks about it. And then it started to really be obvious how flat-footed. Where last week, Voss was bold, Elijah came on the ball. He kept the same 4 all the time. And by the third quarter, I think if we're honest, by Wheatering got injured, the game was over because they'd taken away our 1 wood and it was obvious we weren't willing to. And I think the injury to Wheatering may have been a blessing in disguise in hindsight because that was then obvious. Go from a counterpunch side. You ain't winning the stoppage. Get the ball going from here. And we didn't. And Sydney just ground us down. And tackles, bro, come from in here.
Oh, my God.
Belief. And that belief got evaporated from Carlton so quick, it was too hard. Some of them chases, Blakey, the lizard, when he got to gear 2 and Carlton players looked like they'd stopped. It was hard to watch. And
it was embarrassing.
It's a great tape.
It was, I think it was Chad Warner in the 4th quarter running and like looking back. Like it was so symbolic of what we didn't have and what they did have. They matched us on the inside. We have I think we have we do. We have a really good inside game, which was beaten on the night. Sensationally, by the way. And then they have this running game and they completely blew us apart. I thought it was, at one point in the third, I thought it was just going to continue to rise until it got to 70, 80. That was the fear. You mentioned on the rating show just now that we almost You felt like we protected the lead and protected the percentage. Let's touch on that for a bit. Is that an important part of the game this right now for us? Because you look at the comp; it's so even. There's we're sitting 10th right now with 6-4, with 6 other teams with a similar record. Is that an important part of when you see a game going away? Like, I know in an ideal world, you want that winning mentality. You'd rather lose by 100 than protect a lead, and maybe that's a little bit weak of a mentality. But is it an important factor when you know you are just getting completely battered to make sure that it doesn't take too much away from your ladder position?
I don't like it, Terry. I'm going to be honest. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, for me, protecting the margin is as stupid as giving every kid who plays football a medal. It's the definition of loser mentality for me.
Yeah.
I see teams do it and I cringe, because if you truly believe in what you're doing, I can't think of anything better to come off the ground when you've played sport. You've done it your way to the best of your abilities, and you believe in what you do, and it hasn't worked. And that's the best place to be. I think that I'd take losses. I've had so many of them when I played golf, where I've done what I've wanted. I've executed it the way I wanted to, simply was miles away from the standard. But at least you can sit yourself down and go, okay, I don't have a what if. When you have a what if, I feel like that's a danger. And I've noticed in the media, the club bring up round 12 a lot, Essendon. I think that's a serious fear. I think you hear little things like today when they said this, TDK is fine. And then Tom Morris is like, I'm not training. TDK's grabbed his hammy.
Grabbed his hammy as he turned around.
Yeah, it feels like there's a real fear for reprisals. And that's okay. Surely there is. But you know what? I always say fans drive the culture. My message to the club is fuck the fans. For a minute, fuck them. Because you know what? I'll let you into a little truth bomb about the Blues fans. We're that mad. We're that crazy. We're that much in love with you that we will turn up every week. We will back you in every week. We love you unreservedly. So don't fear us. Be who you are. And I don't want us to be that likable club. And I feel like I spoke to someone at the club pre-season and they said something to me that now worries me. Our aim is to try and be top 6 of all them stats they show you on the TV. And you know what? At first I was like, that's good. Good. Set a standard. I look now and I'm like, that's a concern. Do you want to be top 6 to be liked?
To appease?
Yeah, or do you want to be top 6 because that's your belief? And I'm telling you now, I did some research before this show because it's annoying me. And I'm a man that when something goes wrong, I need to fix it. Telling you now, go back and watch them early games last year when everyone was upset. It was obvious Voss had gone with a backline counter-punch plan. I think that's the dream. He did it this year. He's copped abuse from the fans last year. He's copped abuse from the media this year. And it's suddenly shifted. Right. And the only 2 things have changed. Walsh came in. Right. And last year, right, McGovern was fit. Right. So it can't be them because they're too good a footballer. I feel like they've got to really just own that, because when people say we're slow, yes, we are a slow side. Right. There's no getting away from that. But under the system, pace is useless because you've seen what happens when we play quick footballers in a contested brand. It bottoms out. So if we want to be quicker, we have to change the game plan. And I think there's players on the list. You know what annoys me about this injury is I've thought about it long and hard. Sard's injured. Okay, yeah, he is. I appreciate Sard is an amazing footballer, terrific footballer. Like, not many people like him. But that's just raw pace. His job is raw pace. You've got Chinkar. He can do it. If you want to be sexy, Boyd can do it. Play with the ball. Be more expressive. Nick Newman's not it. No disrespect to Nick Newman, but he's a 9 out of 10 footballer, right? But he isn't a point of difference. Look at Blakey, right down the back there. Quick. Game changer. They don't play Dane Rampy there because Dane Rampy gives 6 out of 10. They put Dane Rampy in the back pocket and stifle. Same with, look at Viney at Melbourne. Not a good user of the football. He's not particularly damaging. He does what he does, though. If they had an injury to Clayton Oliver, they ain't fucking playing him there.
Yeah.
They're getting another kid to do it. So that is what we've got to do. We've got to own what we are. And I just feel that we're good. And I'm not hating on Sard. Sard's brilliant. What I'm saying tough is there is players to replace him, although not the level. You can still play your game system. So the only explanation for this is that we've lost these players. But I think we've gone about it really poorly. Really poorly. And we're starting to be exposed because I'm telling you now, this stoppage and clearance game works against the shit sides. You can beat them up. The top 3 sides in this country ain't bothered.
You got to add another layer. And I think there's also a reality. I mean, when you're adding another layer to your game plan, it's going to go through, a tough learning period while you're doing it. That's not what happened on Friday, though. We didn't try and implement something and fail to do it. That's not an excuse for Friday, but I don't know if we have the. It's an interesting comment you make there. I don't know if the club's got the patience and the dare to take on. I mean, you have to step out of your comfort zone to learn something new. I don't know if they've got the dare to do it because of the fear of last year, the fear of the backlash.
You know what's funny is I can prove this point to you, right?
Yeah.
In the prelim against Brisbane, in the first quarter, Carlton scored 26 of its 34 points, right? From defensive half transition. They scored only 4 more points from that source after that. In the second quarter, Carlton went massively back to stoppage and clearance after they got the lead. Yep. You know what happened, didn't you? Brisbane generated 48 points from turnover, plus 30 on defensive half turnover, right? This year, when Carlton played Brisbane, they learnt from it. Them numbers were flipped. Carlton let them come onto them and they hit them over the back. And we beat Brisbane because we lost around the stoppage and clearance. But no one talks about this and the media haven't talked about this. Carlton's turnover scores were from that centre clearance. So them slow players that you all hate with the ball, one thing they've got, it's hard to run past them and get clean ball. So the temptation is what Neil kept doing. He'd get the ball, shit himself and bomb it long. Then McGovern took the intercept, bang, we went right back at them and we started to have it. So that's a really big thing for me. Do you know what I mean? A real big thing. And injuries, you can't count, man. Like, I'm telling you, you can't count. Yes, they're catastrophic, but we're a professional football side. These players shouldn't have to change everything they do just because they've had their injuries. Otherwise, there's no point of having a draft. Otherwise, you get idiots like that guy on SEN who say, if I was in charge of Carlton, I wouldn't draft talent. Buy it. Lunacy, right? The case and facts are, if we want to improve, if you want anyone to improve in your life, your children especially, stop making excuses. Yeah. Stop making excuses for them. They are there to do a job. They are full-grown men, and we're not criticizing them. They've got to get better, though. Simple. Yeah. They've got to get better. If Patrick Cripps wants to come on this show and say to me, oh, Pom, please don't be mean to me because I'm just happy collecting my paycheck, that says more about him than it does me. The fact is, Cripps wants to win a flag. I want to win a flag. You all want to win a flag, right? That was not the levels of acceptability that B-grade footballers would accept. And that's okay. It happened. It happened. Let's make sure it doesn't happen ever again, though.
Ever. Yeah, that we have to be past those days.
Amen.
You know?
This is a side that last week went toe-to-toe with Melbourne and beat them. Beat them. And Sydney are a very good side. But there is lessons to be learned here. The boys went in with a game plan that is proven not to beat Sydney. So I can't answer that. Whose idea was that? I have no idea. But that's someone at the club. Someone went in and said, right, let's look at all the sides who have played Sydney. Let's see who has done well against Sydney. And none of them have done that. So we went in there either with arrogance or a game plan. That didn't work. And that's what we've got to take out. Because if we want to get better, the margin is so small. Look at the ladder. 12th to 1st, it's small. And that just tells you how hard this is. You've got to be fucking good and onto your game. And this isn't the standard. Voss has said it himself. I'm going to hang Voss with his own words. There is a level of a standard and acceptability when you put the jersey on. And that's when he was talking about injuries.
Those were
So there
fighting words, bro, before the game. That got me. Those were strong words. They were fighting war cry words.
And look how it came out. And
Yeah.
you saw the difference. In-game, Horse shelved his plan. His original setup was getting battered by 26 points.
Yeah.
Shifted the magnets, made it hard for the Blues. And what I keep telling you, protect the players. Protect the players. Make them play their way. Hanging fucking Rowbottom. He made it look easy stopping Carlton's ball movement. James Jordan made it almost look easy to push Walsh away from the clearance. And that's all he did. He didn't tackle him a lot. Just pushed him away. Made it a little bit hard. Made Carlton have to find him.
Yeah. Did anything come out of Friday night for you? Whether it was an individual or a positional move that you thought, okay, we're going to be able to use that in the future?
Yeah. Carlton's entries in the first quarter were the best I've seen for a long time. Do you know what I mean? The fact that they were looking for the lead. They'd learnt last week against Melbourne. They beat the best intercept defence side by moving, boys. Move. Don't be scared to get 55 out from goal. And that's what they did. And they brought that this week. It was interesting that it was shelved pretty quickly, though. And Tough nails it. Like last week against Melbourne, there were so many shifts. When Viney got a little bit on top, they shifted things around. They moved things around. We saw Elijah come onto the ball last week, and it really did change it up a little bit. This week, it felt like, what's the word? It felt shell-shocked. It felt like halfway through the second, felt like we were like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. And I saw it in comments, 2020 Carlton are back.
Yeah.
Things like you felt the vibe from the players.
It was North Melbourne 2021, the way that they were like running around us. It was a shock to the system. I don't think I've really come to terms with it yet. Still, I think I'm just more hopeful that it's not a trend more than anything else. Like I don't want to get too sucked into a loss or a win, particularly this early in a season. But it's the way in which they play. Like they've set such a standard for the passion and the desire in which they play. Like it was so obvious that they collectively were not there.
I can't reiterate this enough. If we start thinking weak clubs look at other clubs. So I've heard a lot of like Collingwood have got 8 injuries, Carlton have got 15.
Yeah.
You start looking around at your neighbours, you're going to be shit. Because that's what weak clubs do.
Losers focus on winners, winners focus on winning.
Well, you look at Tottenham. I have no issue with Tottenham cheering Arsenal's lose the league. I have an umbrage, though, when that overrides what you're about.
Yeah.
So my issue with Tottenham is, why are you so shit? Like, okay, laugh at Arsenal, but fucking get better. Where's the drive? For the Blues, we've got to go, okay, cool. We've got these injuries, but why aren't we putting them in opportunities to thrive? Because our system is good now. And Zach Williams moving forward, that was good, right? That was beautiful. That started to work. We had some better ball entries and stuff. But how quickly did we move him back to the back pocket? We couldn't help ourselves. It was almost too quick. It was almost like, oh my God, we've lost Sweetering. Keep him there. Keep him there. Because for me, I wanted to see a mentality of let's win this game. Let's bring it out. So, yeah, Wheatering goes down. Fuck it, though. We're playing one too many toes. Marchbank, why don't you stay centre-half back? Pitternet, you get there. Do something. Be nice if TDK did something. But straight away, it was safe. Soon as we were tested, you saw it really quickly, didn't you? Shit, Williams, back pocket. Quick. Blake Acres, half-back flank. Protect the left-hand side. Very quickly, Carlton showed that we weren't willing to go toe-to-toe. So the team that bullied GWS started running home to mum quickly, didn't it? We were like the playground bully. The big brothers come in, Sydney's big brother, and gone, fucking made my little brother cry. And they were straight away, oh, Mrs. Hemfrey, help me.
So true. It's so true. Yeah. So look, that's round 10. Were there any other themes or issues from there that you want to cover, or have we gone through everything? Are we ready to move on?
Remember it. I want every player in the... I get a feeling this off-season there's going to be a lot of players on notice. As exciting as the Camporelli twins are to everyone, there is a real life problem that the Camporellis present. That where depth comes from, where Carlton's depth is, where Carlton's exciting players are, all come from picks 30 and above. You ain't having them with the Camporellis, right? So this year, to get players in, to incredibly make our depth better, we've got to trade. We've got to cut. We've got to get imaginative. So for me, boys, if you're watching this back in your locker rooms, understand this. Every game could be your last for this football club. Don't make it happen, because you've been gifted games. 8 players in this team have been gifted games with injuries. They should be playing like it's their last game. And some players that we've covered in the rating system, it's not the level. And I appreciate the game was going away, but backline has copped so much abuse today. They score so many points from repeat inside 50s. I don't think Sydney could have had it easier with the repeat inside 50 entries. So the Blues have got to go back to the drawing board and go, right, we played. This is a gift from the AFL. These fixtures, playing the top 8, gift. Because you've got so long in the season and a bye to fix it. You are now load testing this system. And right now, the system is obvious. Take away Carlton's short ball in the midfield, game over. Time is running out, because in the finals, that will be exposed. They're load testing it today.
No doubt. Let's zoom out a bit. I'm going to share my screen and take a look at where we are right now. These are the facts. This is where we sit right now. This is the ladder. Get North in there. What is your summary? Chat, leave a sentence. What is, and like I did a video earlier today about it, but and I'll go through some of what I read, but Pommy and chat, what is your summary of the first 10 games? Like, what comes to mind immediately when you zoom out a little bit and you say, okay, this is what has happened in 10 games. And what do you see here in the competition, in the context of the competition that we're playing in?
West Coast beat Melbourne. if you're not up to the bare minimum, forget about it. True. Forget about it. We're stacking up against the top 8 these last 4 weeks, and it hasn't gone swimmingly. We're getting a thank you not to fuck up when our back end season, and that's what worries me. There is a big message from the media and the fans of, it's okay, our last 8 games are easy. Are they?
No,
because
they're not.
I'll tell you what, if you're not at the races, these dickheads will knock you off. And you can't say, it's only Sydney, man. It's only Sydney, because Gawker nails it. Adelaide ain't exactly crash hot. We weren't on the races with them, and they knocked us off. So for me, it's what it teaches me is we're average at the moment.
Yep.
Get it right, and you won't be average. But you are getting the lessons every week, and embrace. We're getting these lessons now when there's still a lot of football to be played. I'd hate to be in this situation round 19 where we're 7th. Do you know what I mean? Where we're 7th and we're hoping we stay in the 8. We're getting a lesson now where we can march into the 8, but more importantly, be a team that fucking threatens at the death. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to start adding these second layers. So Vossi obviously wants that slingshot game style. It's been proven last year, and it's been proven at the start of this year. Now's the time to bring it out before it's too late, because otherwise, all the final sides know how to beat us. They've proven it. Got to add that dimension before it's too late.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it is so important to get our group on the park and get them playing consistently so we can start to add this extra layer. There were 2 quotes that I brought up today when I did, my video on the first 10 games. And the first one was early in the season. Do you remember Michael Voss was revealing in one of his press conferences about how they pushed the line with their training in the lead up into opening round, knowing that the round 2 bye was coming. So obviously it was an opportunity to do something they hadn't done before because of the circumstances of that. So I'm looking at it because obviously the availability and the health of the list is it's a component of what's happened so far. It's not the reason why we've lost the 4 matches that we've lost, but it's a component why it's one of the layers as to why we haven't been able to see our team evolve. So I'm like, all right, everyone's looking for the root cause, whether it's the turf, whether it's Andrew Russell, whatever it is.
Gold standard.
Yeah. So then I took note late last week of David Butterfin's quotes. He was the high performance guy at Collingwood with Mick Malthouse, and he was talking about how, when you're trying to get 10% more out of your list, you've got to push the bill. You have to push it. You've got to time your run. You've got to set a program in place so that you are peaking at the right time. That's why I think it's important to wait until the end of the year. Having said that, how much gravity do you put on the availability of the list as to why we can't evolve, if at all?
Okay, right. People always misquote me on this, so I'm going to try and simplify it because I'm sick of being tagged in. Is fucking the health of our players a problem when I've never said it's not? Right. Yes, there's a problem, but I'd say less than 15%, because if you're going to throw Russell under the bus, you've got to throw Nick Austin under the bus, because some of these players, the majority of these players, are best 22 players without backup. So then you've got to look and go, right, if Jack Martin is integral to Carlton's system, my question is, why is Ashton Moore straight into the team? Other clubs are bringing their players in when there's injuries, right? Even if it's too early. They're bringing it in because their system supersedes development, because their system is so refined, you can come in as a first-year player and kind of cultivate a game. But Jack Martin, if you're building your list on Jack Martin being available for 23 games, yeah, brilliant. Like, fuck me. What's the plan? You're hoping. Like, what are you going to do next? Dictate your future by a toss of a coin? It's mental. Sam Doherty. I love Sam Doherty. But ACLs have been a historical problem. So if he's best 22, luckily you've got a Sam Doherty replacement in Nick Newman, who puts in the 6 out of 10 all the time. Good list management. But then who's Nick Newman's replacement? Because you're going to have to move him to play that role. So when you do move him to play that role, who you've got? Way too many injury-prone players. So if you actually look at it, I've got a video going up in the next couple of days. It's taken me ages. I've gone through Carlton's history of data of injuries. You actually see that the new injuries stacks up with all the other AFL. By new injuries, I mean it's someone that hasn't got similar injuries year on year. The one that kills us is it's always the same type of players that are injured, and they are positioned with no depth. We haven't had a Jack Martin replacement ever.
Never.
We've got Ashton Moore there, but he's not playing, right? Sard, we haven't got a line break. That's why we bought him. Line breaking halfback flanker. We've got him, though, ironically, in Chincotta, but we play him in the back pocket in a defensive role, which used to be Nick Newman's role because Carlton prioritise experience over skill set. So that's a big problem. Mitch McGovern, we haven't got a Mitch McGovern replacement. Oh, we have Kemp, but we don't play him there. We've been playing him as a lockdown when he was injured, and we tried to free up Wheaterin. How did that go? Not very well. But Wheaterin is the senior player. Marchbank, oh, he's brilliant. He could be all Australian. Guy can't stay fit. David Cunningham. You've got David Cunningham replacement by accident, Elijah Hollands. He's far better than that. But who's Elijah's problem? If Elijah Touchwood gets injured, there's no one in the VFL that can replace him. So that's a big thing. And I'm not saying Doherty is Newman. I'm saying the role. So you can't look at the same skill sets. You're looking for players that can fill that stopgap. Carlton don't have that. And when they do, they don't use them players. They shift them around. So for me, yes, it is a big problem, right? It is a big problem, right? The injuries. But let's be honest. Look at the injury list at the moment. I mean, let's go through it as a team, shall we? Just so you don't think I'm being Team Russell. Because you know what? Truth be told, Russell gets sacked tomorrow or he gets a 10-year deal. I couldn't give less of a fuck. But Matt Carroll, right? Drafted him. Serially injured last year. Was in the leadership group in his draft year. Constantly injured. Adam Chera has suffered niggles since his Fremantle days. 12 weeks missing. So, yes, it's a nightmare, right? It's a nightmare he's got injured. But Adam Cherry's case in point with his football club. How many times is it, in 3 weeks' time, he plays straight away? No VFL, no extra week off. Carlton are going to play him. So that is where I will look at strength and conditioning, but also the coaching. Because if you remember the review when we sacked Teague, there was miscommunication between the medical department where there was pressure to play players and things not being communicated. So then I throw Brad Lloyd in because you know what Brad Lloyd's job is? He's the interim. So Adam Cherry, I look at and go, this isn't new, Adam Cherry. This isn't new. Adam Cherry has come in straight away and been injured before. It used to happen at Fremantle. Happens all the fucking time at Carlton. How many times have you seen Cherry play at 12 minutes in the VFL? Always in. So I'll hold that. Matt Cottrell, interesting case, right? With the injury he's got.
Right? It's a nasty bone.
It's a nasty one, right? So I'll cop that. David Cunningham, if you bring David Cunningham up in your injury list, you're a moron. David Cunningham has been on that list. That is a guarantee. I am more shocked when David Cunningham isn't on that list. And Nick Webb, genius. You're a clever boy. Yes. Chera had one. Doesn't come straight back in. That needs to be questioned. Sam Doherty, come on, let's be fair, right? I love Doc. He's my boy. Absolutely adore him. But our ACL shocking with Doc. It is scientific fact. If you have 2 ACLs, you are susceptible for it for the rest of your life. Even one, right? Sam Durden, always injured. See why he was delisted by North. Lockie Fogarty, guy plays a high-risk game. The guy's a psychopath. It's unlucky. It's unfortunate, right? Unlucky, it's unfortunate. I'll cop that. Jesse Motlop. Oh, boy. A guy that on talent was top 10 of his draft. The rumours in WA where he was lazy, right? Because he had to be managed at times. So this is the big thing I look at, right, with Jesse Motlop. Okay, he's been susceptible of soft tissue. Can we fix that? Because look at Curnow. Curnow's fixed, but that was a career-ending injury, right? Career-ending injury. Is this going to be something that's long-term with Motlop? If it is, yes, let's look at S&C. Has he been trained too hard? But I'll always allude you to this. When he was injured, Power in his VFL rap said something that he's going to have to learn as he gets older of understanding his body. Now, Wheaterin, 6 weeks before that, got injured in training, and his description was he felt something but carried on playing. So if a 26-year-old man can't put his hand up and go, twinged, mate, what's Motlop going to do? Because he's desperate to get into the team. So I'll let Motlop slide. But again, something that needs to be looked like. Hudson O'Keefe, totally unlucky. But if you're taking a specky on a fucking bag at 200 centimetres tall, fuck me, right? Fuck me, right? Fuck
you know
me,
what?
Right?
It deserves, honestly, it's the one that deserves a fucking... It's banter, that one.
Right? Do you know what I mean? Right? But then Mark Pitternet, he's not a Hawthorne, he's injured. He's a calamity. But you know what? He's resourceful. Adam Sard. So Adam Sard is an interesting one. 3 hamstring injuries, right, in the last 6 years, all after Ramadan. Now, this is a common thing. This isn't racism or isn't fucking Islamophobia. This is scientific fact. Most players in all sports who participate in Ramadan, they don't eat. So this is a thing. So this is something that, again, look at S&C. Yes, they should be maybe monitoring it. Is the load too much? Is the load too much? Is the nutrition in the right pints? You've got to look at that. I agree. I am all for a review. But if you sack Russell now, you ain't fixing the injuries. You will do next year. So that's my point. But look at the soft tissue injuries, right? Like Webby, I agree with you. We can't keep getting injuries. But you know what? 2 things I would counter that with. One, why do we keep fucking bringing these people back, right? Why do we keep bringing them back? Why do you look at other clubs? Luke Parker lost his job because of an injury in pre-season. He's never returned because he was playing 40% in VFL, then he played 60%, then he played full games and dominated. and then he was a dickhead and knocked someone out, so he won't play probably ever again now. But other clubs don't rush these players back. You know what we are like. And chat, be honest with yourself. Just take away the narrative of sack Russell. It's great blaming one human being, but just think like actual adults where you haven't had anyone tell you what to think. I'm asking you to think openly here. Do you think it's sensible when you're going through injuries that Sard, if he's fit this week, he's playing, isn't he? You know he's playing. You know, no if buts and maybes, as long as Sard passes the fitness test, which, by the way, is not 100%. It's roughly 80% fitness, right, to pass the fitness test. You know he's playing Saturday. You know he's in the team. You know no one at that football club is going to go, you know what, Gold Coast, maybe we can give someone else the job, yeah? Nah, they're playing him. You know, Chera, if he somehow passes the fitness test, he's playing against Gold Coast. There's no way someone's going to say, he's passed the fitness test, but we're not playing him, right? So, yes, blame Russell, but go back to the review. Specifically said, miscommunication from football, coaches, and medical department. And there is one fucking common denominator there. Brad Lloyd's job was that. Brad Lloyd specifically said in Cook's review he was undermined. So they gave him another chance. So and I am with you, I love a fucking pitchfork. I love a witch hunt. If they are injured, right, and it's because of them, fuck Russell off. Fuck Russell off. Fuck Lloyd off. Get rid of the lot of them. I don't want to see them working football again. But do you think, honestly, we manage them right at all, if at all? And some of these players, honestly, like that injury list is so overrated because everyone goes, oh, but Bomb, it's happened all the time. The same fucking players, though. Cunners is always injured. Do you know what I mean? There's pictures of people in World War I with bandages on their eyes, fitter than him. Like, it's the same people, 90% of it. Like, I appreciate it when it's Fogarty, I'm gutted. When it's Hudson O'Keefe, I'm gutted. But then I hear he jumped on a bag, and I'm like, idiot. You only got to remember 6 years ago, fucking Kerno was playing basketball in rehab and did it. So this is the big thing for me. Yes, it's bad, but also listen to Cook's words. If you don't want to listen to me, some of our players just aren't resilient enough. Facts. Some of them aren't. So why are you blowing a torch up Nick Austin? He re-signed some of these players. It's on him as well. Like, if I was the chairman, all 3 of them dickheads would be in my boardroom today. Andrew Russell, Nick Austin, and fucking Brad Lloyd. And I'd be like, are you taking the piss? Every year, 6 out of 10 injuries, same bloody player.
Do you think because of the prelim that we made, there was a belief that we had figured it out and therefore didn't look as heavily into this issue now? Because like I've been saying over the last few weeks, the only time to reasonably do something about this is not at round 10. It's end of season. It's too late when the season starts to do anything about this.
When we were playing Sydney in that final, that Brisbane, everyone was fucking bowing to Russell. If Russell came
No one said anything. It was amazing. This conversation was mute.
But what's everyone's argument at the moment? It happens every year. Where was your fucking complaint in September when we got knocked out and got ran over by Brisbane? Like, no one after that game said, sack Russell now. When Cunners got his contract re-signing, Cunners is all Australian. Not saying that now, are you? He's collected his fucking physio again. Do you know what I mean? That's what annoys me. So let's be real. I want to be good. Our second-tier players should be fucking fit. Like, right now, we are talking about playing Jackson Binns. And you know what annoys me about Jackson Binns right? He's watched his VFL. I know you haven't watched VFL when you're demanding Jackson Binns plays. Because the same people demand him in slag off fucking Ollie Hollands. Because he's weak. Oh, he gets hurt. Oh, he gets knocked off the ball. Fucking watch Jackson Binns then, dickhead. He's getting knocked on the ball by 12-year-olds. What do you think's going to happen when he plays a real man? Like, but that's what annoys me, man. Our depth should not be a 18-year-old Jackson Binns, 19-year-old Jackson Binns, right? TDK, he ran around that game looking cooked. Amazingly, he's injured. Fuck me. I'm surprised. Like, this is what I mean, Terry. It really annoys me because I look at other clubs and I spend a lot of time watching other fucking clubs. They don't, when you know that injury crops down 2 to 4 weeks, once that's 0 weeks, right? 0 weeks, sometimes you don't see them. Do you know what I mean? You know, so other clubs, sometimes you don't see them till the week after. It's actually 6 weeks. No one wants to talk about that. We fucking bring them in sometimes a week before that, Terry. And then you go, oh, why are they injured? Terry?
Keep going.
Oh, sorry.
Hang on. My
He's
battery.
dead. But you see what I mean, chat?
Keep going for a sec. I can hear you.
You see, Dean, you say this, but you don't, Dean. So that's a total lie. You know, this is what annoys me about Carlton fans. You bring up you were against it at the time, right? Go and do your research, right? You know when we sacked, I was the first one to sack Teague. I wanted him gone after that Collingwood debacle. I put a post up on this very show saying Brad Lloyd, Russell, fucking and David Teague were on my hit list. On my hit list, right? And everyone was like, You've got to look at it. You've got to look at it long term. So don't just bring it up now because it's niche and because you feel like you've got mates on social media that you can post it. Do you know what I mean? Back yourself up. Back yourself up. So you want to sack him now, right? I'm going to ask you this. Anyone who is Russell out now, you sack him now. Do you get Chera fully fit tomorrow? Do you get fucking Sard fully fit tomorrow? Bet you don't, do you? Like, that's what annoys me. Look at it long term. We always make these mistakes. Players come back way too early. Look at Paddy Dow, how he played for St Kilda. They played him in the VFL for 2 weeks. And they gave him 60% game time. Because lo and behold, they fucking managed the talent. Maybe it is. Maybe I've gone email. I don't know where Terry's gone.
I'm here. I'm just fixing the camera.
Do you know what I mean? It fucking annoys me. Like, but honestly, I'm telling you now, if we're serious and we want to get better, let's look. Let's look deeper. Why do we make these mistakes all the time? Because you know what? We make the mistakes off the field. We make the mistakes on field. We make the mistakes in list management, right? We make the same mistakes. And we only get fucking upset when it bites us in the arse. Do you know what I mean? That's when we get upset. We get upset when it bites us in the arse. But some of these players shouldn't be on the list. Like, be honest with yourself. Would GWS let Jack Martin stay on the list year on year when he plays 12 games? Would GWS have got to the stage of Mitch McGovern? Yes, he's born fruit now. But when was Mitch McGovern's replacement drafted? It hadn't been, has it? Right? So we've got a horrible injury list, yes. Half of them are always injured, right? But, do you know what I mean? And Webby, please, like, honestly, it's such a waste of oxygen if I have to explain the basics, right? I'm not saying Sard and Chera play in the VFL, but I'm saying how often does it happen every fucking time that it's 4 weeks out? Like, already Chera's 2 to 4 weeks. There's rumours of him returning next week. That's 1 week. Do you know what I mean? It's always at the earliest possible time, right? And then they always get injured. You know, Martin, the week before, everyone was complaining that it was 2 weeks, and then he's suddenly in, and then he's injured again.
In early. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Marchbank. Marchbank looked fucking slow in the VFL against Casey forwards. One of the Casey forwards, all due respect to him, I'd beat. He was straight in the team, Terry, and he looked half a yard off the pace. So, I'm telling you now, I reckon half of these injuries wouldn't occur if Carlton sometimes bit the bullet and just said, yeah, he's fit, but he's not ready. Because match fitness and fitness are two different things.
Yeah. Look, it's frustrating because it's so out of our control. But I do think the way in which we talk about it is. And there's nothing to be done until the end of the year. The moment to get up in arms like this was after the prelim. It didn't happen. We moved on. Did we get drunk on the prelim win? Potentially. Let's see.
It's going to be interesting, but it fucking frustrates me because we did say this in the off season. Like our whole off season content was bringing in availability players.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like when people are saying, "Oh, but Palm and Terry, they back up Russell." Did I not in my trade season get rid of every fucking injured player? Yes, I did. Did I not look for replacements? Yes, I did.
Put him up on screen here on the Monday show.
So am I fucking shocked that these players are injured? No, because you know what? I agree with you. It happens every fucking year. But half of our injury list is the same fucking players every year. And I think Cook is right. Some of them just aren't resilient enough. And you know what? It was a great article. If people actually read the Collingwood fucking fitness guy, you'd actually learn something. To be the best, you've got to increase the training. You've got to take risks. You've got to run players into the ground, right? Guess what? Some of these players struggle to do preseason training. What do you think they're going to do when they're up in the intensity? They're going to break. It sets the best, the meek from the strong. And unfortunately, you're seeing, when people say we don't have depth. Yes, we do. Problem is we don't have depth in the right places. It'd be great if it was halfbacks getting injured every week. It's not.
I have a question. Let's move on. If you had to pick the top 5 in the BNF right now, who would they be?
Seniors or...
Yeah, in the seniors, yeah. Top 5 in our BNF right now after 10 rounds. Who would they be?
Newman. Kerner. H. I reckon H would sneak in with the first 5.
Yep.
Akers.
Yep.
Have I missed someone?
Cripps?
Yeah,
we'll Cripps in your 5? Yeah.
Oh, Walsh should probably have. I mean, Walsh is the team darling. He's probably polled 10 votes every week.
My 5 were... What are my 5? I had Cripps, Newman, Akers, Mackay, and I think Jordan Boyd will be so far. I think they're loving what Jordan Boyd's doing. I watch him grow in confidence each week, and I think they give him more responsibility each week.
I think that's fair. Fair. I feel better now. I've got that out. That frustration has been bottling since round fucking 5. Right? I finally got it out. I feel better now.
That's what we're here for, mate. It's good. It's good. Let's look ahead. Gold Coast, 1:45 p.m. Marvel Stadium. They're in form. They looked good last week. What's the recipe and who comes in? Recipe to beat the Suns, because that's all that matters right now, not the Bombers in a few weeks. Saw a bit of that. What's the recipe to beat the Suns and who comes in? What's your team selection?
Oh, God, it's tough. Has it been confirmed TDK's KO'd? Everyone was saying in the chat while I was mid-rant. I do listen to your chat when I medium.
TDK's what? Is there's been a what?
Someone was saying that TDK is out.
Where did these rumors come from today? TDK and
it popped in the chat when I was mid-rant, and I'll be honest, it made me more fucking angry.
Yeah. Can someone confirm in the chat right now what is there a confirmation of these injuries when we were live today? Because I can't see anything. What do you got? Facebook. Okay, well, that's the first red flag.
Is it from a reputable source, or is it just I'm hearing? If it begins, I'm hearing. Cheers,
oh my God,
hey, Marcus, that's why I fucking love you, my friend, because you just straight to the case. No official
Thanks,
reports. Hari Krishna. Well done. You are playing here you are. Do you want some alarm bells? You are playing a side that ranks only second to Sydney by a goal in scores from turnover. You are playing a side that averages a goal more than Sydney in defensive half. And You are playing a side that is almost 2 goals better than Sydney in stoppages over the last 5 games. So you are playing a team that basically the best way I could describe them is Audi Sydney. They look to take the game on through the... This is very 2016 back end Richmond. He's got them playing to their strengths. Now, the reason is quite simple. When you play slingshot football, it hides all your bad skills. Hides them all. And that's why Tuck Miller suddenly looks like he's fucking the best player you've ever seen because it suits him. He's getting the ball to people who are trying to get the game on. So for the Blues here, you are playing a side that is brave, that will take the game on, that will beat Carlton up. And you know, the big thing that I'll give Dimmer's side is Gold Coast now look tough. They're not GWS this year. They will take it in the face, give you it back. They're willing to go toe-to-toe. So for me, I think Carlton have got to go bold, and I think this is the week that you press the button. You back your system in. So you want that slingshot. So for that slingshot to work, you need to get it better. So you know what? I'd bring Binns in. Give him the chance, right? He looks at the wing at Gold Coast. He's not against any world beater. Give him the job. So Binns comes in, right? Give him that outside flurry. And give Ollie, and I'd drop a midfielder as well. I'd drop Hewitt this week. I'd make him the sub, right? And I'd drop Marchbank. So for me, and I would play Williams back into that position. If TDK is injured, you know what? You know who I'd bring in? Because I want back half transition. The man, the myth, Billy Wilson. Bring him in.
Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I want Binns in is I think you can protect him at that half forward position and swing into the midfield. My big thing with Binns when people are saying drop Hollands for him is Hollands is more strong than Binns. The position I've done here is protected him. So I think that's where he should play. I think half forward doing that, it's going to be enjoy it. But you know what? We can beat this. We can win this game. I'm telling you now, Gold Coast aren't Sydney. The one thing, still mentally fragile they are.
Yeah, of course we can. Sorry, I was just doing some research while you were talking there because someone wrote here. I think Melissa and someone, Brooks, Ryan and Melissa Brooks said TDK out for 2 to 6 weeks. Please don't type something like that unless you know for sure it's the truth. Please.
Oh, wait. Who's back this week? Because I forgot that. Who's back?
I think Sard's back. I think Martin, I don't know. Sard, Motlop, I think they're ready.
Sard, I think he's intelligent enough to tell me that he's fit enough to play. And I think Sard has no arrogance and ego. Yeah. He would play. Motlop, VFL, 100%, even though I think he gets a game because Durden's playing pants.
Yep.
I want to see him work his way through it. I think he does. Fogg, that'll be an interesting one because his injuries is physical, isn't it? It's not soft tissue. So that you could probably get away with playing because as long as it's not broken anymore, he can play. So they definitely be in. Fogg and Sard at top of the tree. Motlop for me, he's playing.
Wait.
He's playing reses.
Okay. So here, Jacob Wiedering at Corky, but still a chance for Saturday. Adam Chera jogging laps. De Koning was on light duties. Club has denied he has a hamstring strain, but he wasn't doing much. At one stage, he grabbed for his right hammy.
Conjecture, Tom! Fucking Tom, I would have thought you would have learned by now that fucking having an opinion. No! Chat,
man scratches ass at training. Done a hammy.
Yeah. You know what, chat? Where would you stand? So having my rant and saying bring people back early. Sard, I'm happy to because I think Sard understands his body and wouldn't fucking even put his hand up to play unless he's fit. So Sard, I'll maybe give a whole plus. Motlop, where do we stand on Motlop? Like, let's just say Motlop hasn't played since what?
Pre-season against Melbourne.
Yeah. So if would you risk him in this one game knowing what happened with Martin? Or would you give him the VFL and say, look, let's just give him 20 minutes. I understand Durden's form is diarrhea, and so is Fantasia, but would you risk it? Knowing that Motlop can come in for a game and potentially he's out for 6 weeks. Terry, would you do it? Like, do you hate
Motlop?
Durden and Fantasia that much?
I definitely see merit in Motlop playing a game in the twos. Definitely. I don't know if I trust. I don't think Jesse has yet gotten on top of knowing how his own body works just yet.
Facts.
I don't know. I don't think he's. I mean, he's a what is he? 3rd-year player, 4th-year player. Still very early in that piece for him. So I agree with you. On the flip side, on the flip side, there's always the fear. People will always turn to the fear. What if he gets injured in the VFL?
Okay, I can answer that. So when they play in the VFL, they don't take it serious. So in the AFL, that's 4 points. If he plays for 15 minutes and comes back and says, Gaffer, I can feel a twinge in my hamstring, they're likely to wrap him up and play him, right? Because obviously it's 4 points. In the VFL, they couldn't give 2 iotas of a fuck if they lose by 80 points and he sits out for an hour. So
True.
that's what I say. And if you ever go to the VFL, they actually speak quite a bit about it and they will shelve players very quickly because it doesn't matter. So, okay, next question. Same question. Jack Martin. So Jack Martin, for me, I'm not surprised he's injured. He was injured because I wasn't convinced he was fit, right? Jack Martin passes the test. Bearing in mind the fitness test is 80%. So this isn't a foolproof. It just means that we can manage you. Effectively, that's what it is. It's a management. We can manage you through the game. Would you risk him in this game, Jack Martin?
No.
See?
No.
Hey, Debbie, I'm learning. I'm learning that as well, Dad. Hey, fucking hell, she's agreeing with me. Okay. So Saad, would we be happy Saad to play? Are we agreement that he understands his body?
Saad, I do agree. Yeah, to play.
Okay. And final question. I was very concerned when I saw Chera is running.
Yeah.
And Chera worries me because he's got previous. So I did some research on this. He's got previous, right? It's not bad, but he seems to take a little bit longer to recover than the average bear from it. Chera, would you play? Or would you just give him the week off?
No, well, Chera is still, it's a 3 or 4 weeker. I know they said he's running, but he's on light duty. He's not in the frame to play this week, is he?
Well, I mean, the talk, all I'm going on is the talk, is that he was looking, and we have done it before, because may I remind you, Martin wasn't meant to come back that week, but then the mid-year week report was, but he's running!
True, Martin was still 1 to 2 weeks away. No, Chera, I think Chera's a month away. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd shelve him to the bye, to be honest.
Yeah. So we've got 2 more games, 3 more games in the bye. We've got the Suns, Port, and then the Bombers.
So Saad's in. So Saad's in, and Fogarty, I think we all agree, because it's a bone injury. Like, fuck me. Like, once that's healed, it's healed. Well, it's not anything that needs managing.
This is the thing. It's so important to get the timing of this right. You get 1 shot every year to get it right. There's no doubt. I
understand why the club do it, though. I do understand. I'm not stupid. I like, honestly, it's easy for me to sit here to say I wouldn't do it. Put my mortgage, put you all calling my wife names, me names, my kids' names, and then say, Pom, you've got to play and win this game this week. Could I say, Chera's knocking on my door, going, Pommy, I want to play for you, mate. Look, they're calling you a twat in the media. I can fix it. Would I have the balls to go, no, I'm thinking about your career, mate, and long term, you have the week off. Carol can do it for the week.
So much of that we don't even know. Yeah, there's so much of that we don't even know. I can't see them playing Chera when they've listed him as 3 to 4 weeks away. I can't.
Yeah. You know what, though? That's the thing. And you know what? I want to know where the pressure comes from to win.
Yeah.
Like, to win, because my logic is, like, Debbie, I think, nails it. I think there's about 4 players in the list that I would say as walk-up starts, injured or not. Right? But I just feel... how do I word this? Sometimes I feel like what I'm trying to say is we're addicted to the sugar hit.
Yeah.
We're not willing to wait for Nonna's lasagna. We're fucking dying out on cannolis, right? And I feel like if there's a cannoli there, we can't help but eat it. Where to me, I'm thinking, let's just wait for the main course. The main course. And I'm telling you, it probably does cost us. Mr. Jack Martin not playing massively cost us. But I can't. It's like when people say, if we sack Russell, this wouldn't happen. For me, the same if only is if Jack Martin didn't play till this week, say we gave him the extra 2 weeks, would we get him all the way to the grand final? Probably. I think there's an argument that he might do, as opposed to 1 week off.
The delayed gratification piece is what you're saying.
And isn't it amazing when we lose, these players come back? I know I'm now, but it just feels this is the week we would fucking bring someone in half cooked to make everyone feel better.
Yeah.
Where Jack Martin just said when they announced him as well, oh, he's been training for a couple of weeks. They didn't play him the week before because we won. But the week we lost, you did? Okay. And are we addicted to that sugar hit? Do you know what I mean? Like,
want to manage the sentiment, maybe.
Well, just to get the vibe good, because I appreciate Carlton fans are up and down. Fuck me, I am. But I just think we're at the stage now where we're not looking for sugar hit wins. I think we're looking at, I hope Voss is there plotting how to win the flag and going, okay, we can, like, could we drop the Sydney game? Like, is that how his mind is? Could we maybe drop the Sydney game if I don't play these players? But Gold Coast is a must win because they're going to be in and around the 8. Like, is that how he's thinking, going, do I risk beating Sydney or do I hopefully beat them, but look and guarantee Gold Coast because then all my players are fit? Is that how we're thinking? Or are we thinking sometimes, oh, shit, oh, they're calling me a twat in Big Footy Forum? Because you'd be shocked. Terry, you'll back me up on this. How many players read Twitter? How many players fucking mention a clip on YouTube? And I'm
Instagram,
there like... Yeah. I'm like, why the fuck are you listening to us, idiots?
People think they don't see it. Part of it, sometimes you do need it, though. Sometimes you need someone to doubt you. People are driven by different things. Sometimes you need people to doubt you in order to overcome it. So sometimes it can be helpful, but I think for most of them, it affects them. I think it's more their families.
Oh, 100%. But I think it affects everyone. Like, I think, I'm telling you, I think the media team at Carlton sometimes clamour and go, oh, fuck. There's a petition to raise the monogram. It's gaining traction. Oh, fuck me. Someone's hanging Russell as their profile picture. Adam, you're playing Saturday. And Adam's like, oh, I'm not fit, boss. No, you're playing. You'll be right.
You'll be right, mate.
Like, great. Like, Zach Williams. Like, we said this on the ratings. Like, I went back and watched it. He didn't look fit. Then he had a knock. And I'm not one to believe the eye. But if it sings like a bog and darts like a dog, did they not push him to play? Like, and then I look at Chris Scott. Would Chris Scott play him? I always think, would Chris Scott play him? Like, look at how he manages the list. Someone said to me the other day, Pom, if you think Russell's good, look at Geelong. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll look at Geelong. Geelong hardly fucking play 50-cent players. Like, They're not scared of putting quality players in the VFL or giving them
Mate,
the
they've
extra
got-
income.
Mate, they've got Tanner Bruin, young up-and-coming midfielder. He does not play more than 65% game time.
I listened to Tom Hawkins, right? When they dropped Tim Hawkins, they rested him. He presented on Chris Scott's words. He presented on training on Tuesday, saying that he was feeling a bit sore. He had his massage and he still felt sore. He's hungry to play because he wants to get back in goal scoring form. But we had to sit him down and say, we need you for finals. Like that's when I want you to kick goals. And I'm like, there it is. Chris Scott saying, fuck playing against these dickheads. I don't care. I want your MCG, 90,000 people winning me a flag. Don't care about next week, bro. So are we doing that? And I'm telling you, I love Voss. I back the club in. I believe in them. I guarantee not many of them there have got the balls to say, you're not playing this week. I need you in 6 weeks' time. Rest up. And it's been proven because Cripps and Teague, they fell out over it. So it's been proven. I just think we need sometimes, I'd love Voss to sit them down and go, Adam, to Chera, go, Adam, mate, fuck Gold Coast, no one cares. Port Adelaide, I don't care. Go home, have some fucking wine, rest up, put your feet up. I'll see you round 13.
Well, how good is it, though? How good is all of it? Like, we're alive,
I
mate.
love it. Just we're in the trenches now.
We're in the trenches. Absolutely. We can't stop. There's no drawing conclusions and stopping and giving up. That's a non-negotiable.
Mate, and you know me,
And
I don't care about injuries. Like, I've been consistent. Yes, they're bad. But these fuckers are paid 6 figures to kick a football.
Of course. So, yeah, of course. But also, I think we're only just learning now, apart from the people who have watched premierships, we're just learning now how to look at a season like a marathon. Last year was the first time in a long time that we were even featuring in September. So thinking long-term like this and thinking, not getting too caught up in a win-loss during the season and understanding how important the big picture is new. It's new to all of them.
And you know what? Winning does bring confidence. Adam's spot on, but I'd say, how much fucking confidence do these boys want when they were a game away from the finals?
Yeah, true.
Whether they know they belong. So, and they had injuries last year. So, like, my point to that would be, what made it hard last year not being top 4? What probably cost us top 4? Probably the injuries. Right? Probably the injuries, probably knocked us back. So surely this year, the focus should be on these boys are good enough. They should have the trust now. So, do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I'm expecting standards. I've shifted. I'm not angry because they're shit. I'm not angry because they frustrate me. I'm angry because sometimes we make the most stupid mistakes in the world and we should be a top 4 side. And I don't want to hear any bollocks from the club of, oh, fucking Chera's done his hamstring. Who gives a fuck? You're paying another dickhead 6 figures to be a footballer. Work it out, you big boys, right? And you know what? If you produce last week's performance, you ain't getting my support.
No.
If I put that much effort into my YouTube videos, I'd do something else.
That's a good point. On that note, let's wrap it up. What a show. What a night.
Terry,
I'm alive again.
I've had a rant for a while.
I'm alive again. No, I feel alive again. I was dreading ratings, but we're back. Got to get on with it.
Terry just brings me on to rant, makes him feel better.
Well, I could see you needed to get it off your chest, mate. Do you feel better?
It's probably not healthy bottling it up.
It's important to let it out.
I've got to say, it's probably not healthy. It's probably doing me damage long run. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I'm 50 and the doctors say, oh, yeah, you've got a fucking hole in your esophagus from all the stress, I'll remember this.
Nah, very good stuff tonight, mate. Thank you. And thanks to those of you who tuned in. Thank you to Cannoleria for supporting the BA show. And that's us. See you throughout the week. Go Blues.
Go on, Blues.